try this again. So, as I've mentioned quite a few times, new to all of this, learning how to do it. One thing I did notice when I was going through the first VODs that I created that I realized that I had the audio issue on the very first one where I was actually explaining what this game is and why I enjoy playing it and quite a few other people enjoy playing it. So I am adjusting some other audio things too right now. So if things aren't really that great, just hop in chat, try and let me know. Always open to feedback and try to adjust things and make things a little bit easier. But just so we can basically explain what this is, Stationeers is a open game that you basically just build whatever you want to build as far as a base goes. It's based on the fact of you just landing on a planet. Sorry, I'm updating something. So you basically just land on a planet. You start with whatever you selected as far as your beginning goes, and then you just change your gameplay or make your gameplay whatever you want to from there. Sorry, I'm making I deeply apologize. So this will make things a little bit easier and hopefully work a lot better. So, but yeah, it's got an animated type look to it. There are parts of it that are very simplistic, and then there are parts that get really complicated real quickly. Gameplay breaks down into mainly, your survival aspects as far as food, water, air, all the way up to it adds into the base build, and it adds electricity. It goes into programming. It goes into plants. It goes into atmospherics. It goes all the way up to rocketry. So it has a blend of quite a few things. But you start off, you try and start a new world. Click on it, and then you'll see that there's quite a few worlds to go to right off the very beginning. You can kind of select whatever you want to. I would suggest doing the tutorial if you've never played before, because it is a really nice way to break into some of the basics, which of course tutorials right here on the main page. Click there, breaks into it as far as inventory, connections, atmospherics, walkthroughs, furnace basics, and then just general manufacturing. They're really good to go through. I am on the beta version. It's the one I've gotten used to playing. So I play a lot of features that could cause bugs or be bugged. So sometimes you'll see things that may happen in my gameplay that doesn't happen in other people's gameplay. One of the biggest ones is like right now there's a waste mechanic so that you actually make waste. And so it makes things fun. So, but go to new world, select your world. Each world has its own unique challenges, Mars being the most basic. Moon is kind of like Mars with very basic, except for it doesn't have any atmosphere. Mars atmosphere is very weak in the fact of it's cool at night and warm during the day. So you'll never really get in trouble with anything, and it actually has breathable atmosphere once you get rid of the pollutants. The Moon has no atmosphere, so it's a little bit more challenging. But it has a good solar rotation, and you can, get as far as solar power and everything else like that. Nimbus is the first challenge world that you really have because it has no atmosphere, and then the solar is very weak, so you can't use wind. You have to pretty well rely on gases as far as your, energy production. So next up is Europa. It's actually my personal favorite, but it's snow planet, very cold. It's got very weak solar, but the wind makes up for it. And then the storms that are on here are ice storms. So you do have weather events. Next we come up with Venus. Venus is very hot, but it stays constant and the pressure is very high. So this whole challenge of this whole world is that pressure. That pressure is going to, over 100 will blow out your windows. And so any base that you try to put anything as far as like, non-airlock, non-frames, it's going to blow them out if you don't have some kind of plan to deal with it. It does have high electricity that's generated from solar, so it's got its benefits. And then of course its storm is a dust storm. It's kind of similar to like like a dune type feel to it. Very orange. It's not bad if that's what you're looking for, but the pressure is the whole challenge there. And then Vulcan is supposedly the most extreme out of it, because it has a temperature that actually fluctuates for heat, and then the pressure actually fluctuates with the heat. So you're having to deal with pressure issues and temperature issues at the same time versus Venus only having pressure, no temps. So solar or electricity again, very high. There is a little bit of atmosphere that moves on Vulcan, so you can do wind too. But once you get some solar panels up, it pops electricity like crazy in the middle of the day. So as you can see, your biggest thing is actually making sure that you use heavy duty cables and coils, excuse me. So that way, when it does ramp up and you are pumping that much electricity, that it doesn't blow them. So, but yep, that's the basics on the planets. And then of course, once you choose a planet, it's going to give you an option of different locations. Now, every map is the same, but it has different areas. That way you can actually rotate what you want to do. Each one of them you click on will give a small description of what it is. Now, you can go to one map and fly to each one of these zones and see every single zone. That is 100% possible. So if you pick one that you really didn't care for in the first place, you can do it another playthrough, or you can just wait. And then that way, you just go to the different areas. You can start another base over there. Once you get one base established, it's not really hard to set up multiple ones if that's what your choice is. But it does kind of make things a variety. We used to use a random generation map, but honestly that came with its own issues, and also this was a better allocation of resources from the developer. They were able to make things a lot tighter, and actually were able to redo a lot of their mining system, so it made things a lot better as far as performance goes. But you just click whichever one you want to. Of course, go next. Then you can choose your modes. Creative, of course, easy. If you notice right over here on the side, it'll explain exactly what easy mode is. You take normal, then you start trying changing things. So, of course, you can't eat or drink through a helmet. Weather damage to the lander, etc., etc. Stationeer is for somebody that's been playing the game for quite a while, because once again, your nutrition rates increase, your hydration rate, your breathing rate. Robot battery is for the species. There's more than just humans, which I'll go over in just a second. But sanitation is the new one. That's what I'm talking about, whether it created waste. And of course, mood, hygiene. This is being in the suit for a long period of time, or just moving constantly and everything else, and not taking it off. Being in a room will affect your mood. Lung damage is a big one, because if you're breathing the wrong type of atmosphere that whatever species you're playing can't handle, then it's going to damage their lungs. So then once you pick that, then it gives you choice of standard, brutal, standard community, or brutal community. Community, of course, sets up for multiple people to come in with multiple landers, and then that way you can kind of go through here and set it all up. Standard brings up everything that you need to get your base started, going, and pretty well get through most of the game loops. If you see, there's hydroponic supplies, which actually has all those different things in it. Survival, etc., etc. Honestly, if you go through on a standard, you can get through most of your base being built without having to add almost anything. Now, if you try to build a really large one, of course, you have to get some iron going to get some walls and stuff like that. But I mean, it already gives you, I think it's like 50 walls, 60 walls. So 2 stacks of 30 walls, and all the frames and everything else like that. So you can get to building immediately. When you start the challenge planets, that's helpful. Now, if this becomes too easy for you, what they've come up with is called brutal. Brutal lands with just those supplies: a bag of water, a bag of cereal, and a waste bag. That is it. That is all you have. 3 potato seeds. I have beat every map on brutal. Um, it is a giant pain, and honestly, the only difference between brutal and normal is how much time you want to play on the same map. You can do a brutal playthrough on every map and get to the same place as the standard after quite a few more hours. Um, because you still have things like, your basic base, your doors. You still have a little bit of power generation, even come from a minimum supplies. But the main thing you don't have is you don't have all your resources to get your walls and stuff like that going. So there is a Steam achievement that comes from doing brutals. That was the main reason why I started doing them. And then I got kind of used to them and I kind of liked them, just because I felt like standard kept giving away too much equipment. I do kind of feel like standard is it's way too easy the way it is right now, but they have changed it quite a bit. So, and there is plans in the future to be able to go through here and then you can just start trying unchecking stuff and you can actually make your own kind of sort of gameplay. So then you hit start game. After you start game, it'll load the map and then go ahead and go through. You can join other people's worlds, of course, workshops, scenarios. There's quite a few. There's a pretty good community of people that are gotten together and done quite a few scenarios. There's even some that have tried to play with atmospherics as far as trying to create different types of planets. That's another thing too when you go into new worlds. When you start going to each planet has a different atmosphere or lack of atmosphere. So like Memphis, no atmosphere. Europa, it tells you the pressure and stuff like that, but this is actually like oxygen, pure oxygen. Venus and Vulcan have both high pollutants and volatiles. That's another thing you'll kind of see when I'm in the beta. I've got more gases than the normal standard. I don't think they've increased the gases on the standard yet. But that's kind of the basics as far as the gameplay and everything else like that. So if this is something, if you like survival games, if you've enjoyed Minecraft or anything of that nature, to where you're, basically land with nothing and like to build things up,